welcome to Unfettered Podcast. Your host, my name is Adebayo, and today we have a special guest. Like every other episode that we have, our guests are special. We have Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Olusegun Obasanjo is kind enough to give us time out of his busy schedule for us to record this short episode on African youth and leadership. We are this presidential library where you continue to lead in different aspects in Africa. It's quite revered, and when it comes to leadership, politics, and governance. So today, for Better Forecast, welcome Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Major. And it's always a pleasure to
Yes, sir.
good to talk to you.
Thank you, sir. From one old soldier to another. I know I can't really call myself an old soldier, but I am retired. Thank you, sir, for honoring us. I know in the short time notice.
You know this thing they say that old soldiers never die; they
just
only
fade
fade away.
That's true, sir. We still stand.
You seem that it would seem if you are still not fading yet. I've started to fade, so you are still reasonably fresh.
Thank you so much, sir. And I follow your work, your leadership over the course of time, and thank you for subjecting yourself to serve not only Nigeria, your motherland, but also the continent of Africa. And also, you kind of tried to help posture Africa for prosperity. I saw your work in Liberia, and oftentimes I wonder how you do it, sir. How you do it, that vigor, that experience, and that ability to always give more. Even at, sir, you should be retiring somewhere now and just be chilling and be working and just eating the fruit of your labor, but you're still committing yourself to the betterment of humanity and Africa. So thank you so much, sir. So as we discussed, sir, I spent 20 years before I retire, and because I really want to embark on this journey of development of leadership in Africa. And you've laid a template of what you're doing here with Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library of the Youth Center and what you're doing. I saw you in African Youth Governance in Ghana and the amount of wealth of knowledge you provided them. But it still seems that there is still a gap when it comes to youth leadership. Like you've seen, we're just going to talk about it briefly, every answers that happened earlier in the year. A lot of youth want to be part of governance, but just don't know how. And you've been through that. You've seen them. You've talked to majority of them. How can they step into this leadership role? I know the era at which you govern is completely different from the era where we're currently in. But what are the opportunities out there? How can they embrace those things? Though the opportunities when you were there weren't presented. A lot of them, you went to the military channel. A lot of them might not be able to serve right now because of quotas or any of that thing. But how can they put themselves to the workforce service?
Thank you very much. There are a number of things that one needs when you talk of leadership.
Sure.
The first is what I call God-given, the innate ability. And God has given every human being an element of innate ability. It's like the story of the talent in the Bible. What God has not given is that He has not given everybody the same amount. But there's nobody who hasn't got certain innate ability to be able to give something back to his fellow human beings in terms of leadership.
Sure.
Now, the problem, of course, of all of us as human beings is what talent has God given us. And if you don't know what you have, you may not know how to make good use of what you have. And that is very important.
Okay, sir.
You need to be able to identify and be able to say, yes, this is my talent. This is what I am reasonably good at. I always say to people that if you are doing something and you are doing it with reasonable ease and you are getting on along with others, and you may take that as probably one of the talents that God has given you. You have to identify what you have and then develop it. Now, the beginning of development is education. If you do not have education, the means and the ability to develop yourself and the talent that God has given you will be greatly, greatly reduced. So, identification, but along with identification is education. Now, if you then have got education, you've got identification, then development. And in the area of leadership, development comes in formal education.
Yes, sir.
In informal education, in interaction with others, in what I call, I normally call it free education. And what do I call free education? Going on seminars, going on
Professional development.
workshops, whether it's in your profession, chosen profession, like you and I in the military,
Yes, sir.
or in other areas of human endeavor. I also believe that there's no education that is a waste.
That's correct, sir.
Have it. It may not come handy immediately. But when you are talking of leadership, you have talked about identification, we have talked about basic education, we have talked about you having quality education, we have talked about professional education, we have talked about what I call free education, which is seminars, workshops, conferences, and all that. These are not waste. Then, reading. You must be a reader. I have maintained that a leader must be a reader, particularly reading other people's life experience. What makes for wisdom is experience.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. Other people's experience which you have learned from, and to some extent your own experience. But a very, very wise man will learn more from other people's experience than from his own experience, because in trying to learn only from your own experience, you are bound to make mistakes. But if you are learning from other people, you will see what mistake they have made, and you will avoid it. Of course, it doesn't mean that no matter how clever you are and how much you have read, that you will never make mistakes. But it will reduce the amount of mistakes that you will make. Now, so we have got identification, we have got education, basic, formal education, professional education. We have got education by interacting with other people, dialogue, short duration conferences, meetings, workshops, and all that. And then we have to talk about, what do you read? Reading, history, biographies. And reading those things, those books that widen your own knowledge about affairs around you, about human beings. What do you expect? Why should we expect this and that from human beings in such a situation? Knowing more about human beings. I was in prison, Major Adeleke.
Yes, sir.
And my experience of being in prison was very useful to me.
Wow. How so, sir?
How? Because I found that you can get the best of people. The best you can get from people, even from prison. Oh. And you can get the worst
out of people
that you can get out of people in prison. And you will say, look, prison, a place, can you get any good thing out of it? Of course, you can get a good thing out of it. No, can get a worse thing out of it. You can go to prison and come out worse than you went in.
That's true.
And you can also go to prison and come out better than you go in. Yeah. So there's always something to learn if you make sure that you are ready to learn. One of the things that I used to hear when I was going to political or international meetings, international meetings, is people saying, oh, the delegation of country A doesn't have anything to learn from the delegation of country B, especially if country A has said something unpalatable about country B. And I will say, look, that's a great mistake. If you are a good natured man, you must learn something from everything that comes your way. Even if only what you learn is the way not to do a particular thing.
It's something.
It is learning. It is learning. And that is something, it is important. If it is, how this one handled a particular situation, two situations may not be on all fours alike.
Yes, sir.
But find out how he handled a particular situation. And when and if you are confronted with something similar, what can you apply and what may not be quite the same, and so not quite applicable. So preparation, of course, for leadership is a lifelong thing.
Yes.
You cannot say, yes, I've got to the limit of preparation, or I've got to the end of preparation. You must continue to struggle, to learn, to be conscious of what is around, what is going on. If you go to a place and you do not learn, then you're going to that place and turn out to be a failure.
Oh.
That's my belief. And in all situations, in one of my books, I wrote about when I was in detention and my window faced the wall, and all I was able to see are lizards.
Wow.
The female lizard, the male lizard, and they have two young
Baby lizards.
Yes. Two young baby lizards. And it was there I learned that lizards change color like chameleon, but not as fast.
Wow.
And not as distinct as chameleon. But lizards change color. It was there I learned. It was there I learned that lizard, the female and the babies will go into the hole at night, and the male will keep guard overnight. And then by watching the lizard and looking after at them, I could write a book on lizard. Again, a way of learning about ordinary lizard.
So I read your book, My Watch. It's quite profound, the 3 volumes, about your history from birth all the way down to it. And you make a profound statement about being a watchman. And I think I can equate it, being as a military man, you're always on guard. You never leave your post until you're properly relieved. And I think, and I see that in the way you kind of put your foot out every day is like you still being that watchman, regardless of you've left the service. Now, my question, sir, is the fact that the act of service, which a lot of us that have military background, we got it from, being in the military because we kind of service oriented. Most youth of our generation do not understand what it is to serve, something that is greater than yourself. And I think our society, I might be wrong, sir, but I think our society believes that, you have to chase the money first. But in your generation and what you've seen, service is the way to every other thing. So what will you advise African youth about this idea of service? How do they want to serve? Besides, in Nigeria, we have NYSC or not, but beyond that, I believe service is a critical part of leadership and governance.
Well, you remember, I think it was before we came on camera, we were talking about opportunities and all that. And I did say that you have to be able to identify opportunities and take advantage of it. You see, one of the things that have changed, let me say what you know and what I know in Yoruba culture.
Yes, sir.
We value a number of things. That money was not what the Yorubas value as very important attribute or value. We value integrity. We value hard work.
Character.
We have value. These are some of the characters, but you have a man of honor.
Yes.
Honor integrity, truth, hard work. And Yoruba even have the saying that you are going out looking for money and you meet honor on the road. And the most dignifying thing for you is to come back, pick up honor and come back. Because Yoruba says, even when you have got money, what will you do with it? You should use it to buy honor and buy integrity. Of course, this relay, literally, they are not buyable.
That's true.
What Yoruba is saying is that, look, honor is more important than money. Integrity is more important than money. Being a man of truth is more important than money. Now, so I think we have to go back to basics. And basics to me is what are the values. Because, whatever you do, value, it will count in the future, whatever you do. And I always say that when you have opportunity to do a thing, do it with all your heart, do it with all your mind, do it with all your soul, and show to people that you mean what you are doing and you are doing it very well. And that is very important. So one of the things that happens today is there's a craze. People are crazy about money making. So the issue of service, the issue of community, the issue of humanity is put aside. Me and what I will amass. Whatever you amass, it will be of no value. And I describe success as people say, what is success? Oh, this. For me, success is not what you have acquired or what you have amassed or the position you have reached. Success is, do you make where you are better than you found it? To me, that is success. How much you have made where you are, the environment, the community, the people, you have impacted on them to make them better than you found them. And if you see success in that way, it will inspire you, it will goad you in the line of service. Because service means that you want to make things better. So when you talk of success, and you ask people, what do you see as success? Oh, meeting my ambition. What is your ambition? I used to have a friend, we are still friendly, Ted Turner.
Oh, Ted Turner, yeah. They know CNN.
He started CNN.
Yeah.
And he set up, that's how we came to become close. He set up something he called Society, Better World Society.
Okay.
And when he created Better World Society, I was one of the directors, and President Jimmy Carter was also one of the directors. And one day we went to Costa Rica. And
Great country. Great country.
Great, small, and very, very amazing country. So we were coming back to the U.S. in that private aircraft. And I asked him a question. This was more than 20 years ago. So I said, "Ted, I will recharge you." And he said, well, maybe 20, 18, 20, 21 billion
Wow.
dollars. Then I asked, Ted, when you are that rich, how do you feel? How do you feel? And he started telling me stories. When I was ambitious to say, look, I want to get to 1 billion. If I get to 1 billion, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I said, I got to 1 billion. If I get to 2 billion, I will do this, I will do this. I got to be 2 billion. If I get to 5 billion, I will do this. So then I now come to the conclusion and realization that you can get to any billion. What matters is to make the world a better place than you find it.
That's awesome.
So that's why he established Better World Society and put us in it.
Wow. That's awesome, sir. So, one little question, sir, is from your perspective now, we can say boldly that you've had the years ahead of you. I mean, the years behind you is more than the years ahead of you. Looking back now, and you've seen the youth, you've helped develop different African nations. What is the greatest risk to African youth moving forward?
The greatest risk to African youth moving forward is being denied opportunity and for themselves, denying themselves opportunity. You see, when I was growing up, there were not many facilities. In Nigeria, there was only one university.
Wow, that's some years of...
Yes,
yeah.
In the early 50s, when I had to go to apply for university, the only university that was there in Nigeria to apply to was University of Ibadan. Now, I also applied to Forabe, and when I went to Sierra Leone a few years back, they found my application. I didn't know how they do it. They found my application and then they gave me an honorary admission number.
Wow.
And they gave me honorary admission number 1. And the Anglican bishop, who was number 1 on the admission, the proper admission, Ajayi Crowther.
Ajayi Crowther, wow.
Was number 1.
Wow.
On that. So I beat my chest. I said, I'm in good company.
Yes, yes, indeed.
If Ajayi Crowther was number 1 on the admission register of Forabe College, and they honored me by giving me honorary admission number 1. I feel really
absolutely
in good company. But come to go on your point, my time, there were no many opportunities to make a choice how you further your education, it was limited. But what you could do were more abundant. When I left school after secondary school, I had job in 5 places. 5 places. One of them was private sector, USC. Another one was to go to School of Agriculture, more plantation in Ibadan. Another one was to work in government printing, another printing press. Another one was to work in government medical store in Ikeja, and then to be a teacher. They were all open for me. I wonder if a young man or a young lady leaves university today, he can claim to have job opportunity.
I don't think they are there.
In 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
But then, what is there for the young man or young woman of today is that the facilities are many. Today we have how many universities in Nigeria? Probably close to 180 universities in Nigeria. Now, compared with when it was one. All right. But then what do you have today? You can take your mobile telephone and get information that is it would take me, in my time when I was growing up, a week to search out wherever I have to search.
I can get that in minutes now, in seconds.
Now, these are facilities. I call them facilities. Now, the youth of today must use those facilities to enhance their opportunities. Use the facilities that you have today to enhance
your
opportunities. And the opportunities are there. As I said earlier, it's only how to identify them. Opportunity for work, opportunity for service, opportunity to get engaged with others, opportunity to even travel. I love traveling.
Oh, yes.
Because traveling is a wonderful way of education. What you will be able to understand about a place that you spending 24 hours there and being inquisitive and traveling and asking questions. Now, you won't learn it from 2 or 3 books. Well, and so what therefore is there for the youth of today is they have to get those opportunities that may not be easily available or easily even reached. I always tell the story of the young man. He is dead now. Many years ago, we never had event centers. So what people used to do is they had a ceremony, burying, particularly in Yoruba area, burying an elderly person in the family or marriage or naming ceremony, you do it outside.
That's true. That's the common practice.
Yeah, you have canopy, if you like. And this young man noticed that, oh yes, people are doing this thing, but they have no places to ease themselves and all
covering.
Yeah. So he provided mobile
Portable Johns.
Yeah, mobile
Toilets.
Toilet. And the thing boomed.
Yeah.
And in a short period of time, he had more than 25 workers working for him.
Created jobs.
He created jobs, and he also was making money. And his slogan is, shit business is a serious business.
It is a serious business.
Okay. Shit business is a serious business. As I said, he died. I called him a couple of times just to talk to him. Now, so identify what I fear most about the young is they becoming frustrated, becoming desperate for lack of empowerment, lack of job, lack of being able to fulfill, to feel fulfilled in their life. And that is dangerous.
It is.
And that is dangerous.
It is. And so we shift a bit. I have a couple of more questions, sir. And I know you have a busy day, you have a long day, so I'll try to not to give this. So we'll look at the issue of geopolitical space. One thing for me, and I count it as a blessing that I learned about geopolitics from the military. I've traveled over, depending on how you've viewed, over 50 countries. I've fought in Afghanistan and different countries. Kind of have that kind of insight into different.
I'm going to Afghanistan on Saturday.
I heard, sir. Enjoy your time. It's going to be pretty hot over there.
I'm looking forward to it.
Is it your first time in the country?
It will be my first time in recent time.
In recent times, okay.
My first time in recent time. But I'm looking forward to also learning.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I spent 4 deployments there. So it was, I won't compare that to what when you fight your war, when you fight your time, but it was a different time and era. So engaging in those kind of conflicts kind of gave me opportunity to see. And as you know, as a military man, when you do military decision-making process, when you dissect the mission, when you do mission analysis, it kind of gives you talk about the country, the political, the economic one, and whatnot. So in that process kind of brightens my ability to look at different countries. Now, in African youth are so concentrated in what they do now and very siloic in their view. People in the southwestern part of Nigeria don't know much about what goes on in the north. So the people in the southeastern part.
That's part of our misfortune.
Exactly. And we only talk about Nigeria. Most Nigerians don't know what goes on in Cameroon, in Benin Republic, in other parts of Africa, and so the other African countries. And now we have all these issues. Everybody have a different view of what leadership and what governance should be. So I believe wholeheartedly that geopolitical education is huge for any leader that want to go into governance in Africa or whatnot. How do you expect them to, I know you've traveled from your experience, your first assignment in Congo and other aspects, you've traveled all over Africa, you've been able to harness those knowledge together to help the continent. How do you, what would be your suggestion for an African leader, young African leader trying to engage in this kind of opportunity like you did? How would they start?
Well, as I said to you earlier, education should be seen, or traveling rather, should be seen as very important means of education. But some youth would say, I don't have money to travel. You can travel also and make it a little bit of adventure, which, of course, I did. And the knowledge, in fact, the geopolitical knowledge you talked about is now on our palm. In my time, it wasn't, and I was growing up. Today, with your telephone, you can get anything about any country, about any region of the world, about any issue, current or past. And the idea now is that how much of these important facilities that we have do we try to imbibe, do we try to get, and not much. We have other things that are more entertaining. When I listen to people using their radio, their mobile, they are more interested in things that I would call purely entertaining than things that I believe are informative and instructive and educational. I think we should just say, look, what is happening? And ask them, what is happening in Mali? They should know. What is happening in Chad? They should know. What is happening in Ethiopia? I just take 3 countries in Africa today where there is some form of conflict.
Wow.
Mali, Chad, Ethiopia. Now, if you ask most of the youth in Nigeria, Mali is far away, Ethiopia is far away, Chad, that you may even think is nearby, they don't know. That we have to get them to be aware, to know. Because in a world which is a village, what happens in Mali
Affects everyone.
will affect you indirectly, if not directly. What happens in Chad will affect you
Directly.
directly or indirectly. So that is why I like the way you call it geopolitical
Knowledge.
knowledge. Is important.
So one personal question for me, sir. What is the greatest lesson you've learned as a military man that has helped you in your life of service, that you've held on to as your true compass as you navigate your way through, as an infantryman or artilleryman? But there's always that military attribute that you learned that has been ingrained in you from the get-go, and if you use that, regardless of whatever happens in your life, that blessing has always held true.
The first thing that sticks to me about my military knowledge, my military training, my military is aim. Aim.
Aim.
What is your aim? Or some people call it objective.
Objective, yes. Yes, we
Some
use that.
people call it mission.
Mission, yes.
I call it
Aim.
aim. What is your aim? And as you know, if you get your mission wrong, you are going to get the whole thing wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
So it is important that you must get your aim right, your objective, your mission, and now if you get that right, the chances are that you get everything. It's important. What I asked the economic advisor to a Nigerian leader at one time. I said, what is the aim, the economic objective of you and your principal? And he said, the objective? And I said, look, and you must be able to state that aim, objective in one concise sentence.
The 5 W's.
I said, in one concise sentence. He said, when you were there, what was your aim? This was when I was economic. I wanted Nigeria that is economically buoyant, strong, self-reliant, and making its contribution within the Committee of Nations. Oh, he said, that's also our aim. I couldn't put it that way. So I think to me that is very important.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. So looking back now, sir, on the this will be my last formal question, sir, is now you're in your 80s, sir, and you've seen it. You pretty much have seen it all for the most part.
There's still a lot I would want to see. I would want to see Nigeria really doing well and being what God wants it to be before I die.
That's awesome. So we are actually aim for that as well, and we hope that it will come to pass, because
I believe it will.
It will. So I know you guys you've laid down those foundations. You're just building up.
Well, I always say that I take 3 generations now. Generations of the leaders that gave us independence.
Yes.
We can condemn them. We can say whatever we like about them. And some of them, well, maybe they didn't do well enough. Maybe some of them, maybe they did. But we cannot run away from the fact that they gave us independence.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I say, well, then you come to my own generation. You can say whatever you like about my own generation, but you cannot run away from the fact that here in Nigeria, my generation fought for the unity of Nigeria and laid the foundation of democracy. You cannot run away from that. Now, the question is, what will your generation do? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Well, on this note, General Obasanjo has left the building. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And as always, really appreciate your wiseness, your wisdom, and your experience during this. Until next time, everyone. So before you leave, what books are you still reading? What books are you currently reading?
Well, as I said, I'm still reading Barack Obama and Warren.
Oh wow, the Promised Land. Yes, we just finished having a profound session, a conversation with Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. It's always a moment of enlightenment, just talking to him and tapping into his wealth of knowledge and experience. And until we see again next time, be safe out there, and also try to make the world a better place than you found it. Thank you.